How to make bolt-ons fit, take 2. Hey guys, I'm Dave. Welcome back to my Datsun 2 A to Z project car build. In today's episode, I'm going to be installing some massive upgrades to the suspension, the brakes, the rear end, the axles. It's all going on in the car. It's going to be a fun one. Stay tuned. There were a lot of Nissan differential options that could have been used for this restoration. I chose a short nose R200 from an R33 Nissan Skyline GTR. This differential is really interesting to me because it uses the same 6x1 31 spline output shafts as a 300ZX twin turbo, has a 411 rear gearing, and has a factory 2-way limited slip mechanical center. This should perform way better than a welded R200 from an Infiniti Q45 and is much stronger than anything that came factory in a 240SX. Additionally, it's 40 pounds lighter than the R230 differential found in a 300ZX twin turbo. At $400 on eBay, I thought this was a perfect package for the money for this build. While I'm working through this, I wanted to thank you guys. New channels are difficult to get off the ground, and the response so far has been awesome. Last week, we celebrated our first 100 subscribers, and we're already over 300 today. You guys have been a huge motivation for helping me get this project on the road. Thank you, and if you're new, welcome, and consider subscribing if this is something you want to follow. That was way too much gasket sealer. Don't use that much if you're sealing up your diff. And I don't know why I sealed and torqued the fill plug before I put fluid in it. Let's continue. This differential might be lighter than an R230, but it's still a substantial piece trying to muscle it up. I'll always recommend using a floor jack when removing or installing one of these. It's not worth crushing your fingers or cracking a cover, getting it most of the way there, and then inevitably dropping it on yourself. For the rear of the car, I'm using Techno Toy Tuning's complete R200 short nose conversion kit for S30s. This kit helps me eliminate the factory stub shafts and instead use shortened, beefed up Q45 6x1 axles and the Nissan GTR differential. This kit included the camber plates that I previously welded to the perches, the coilovers, differential mounts, and the uprights to accept off-the-shelf wheel bearings from an R200 or R230 equipped Nissan. All these parts are significantly stronger than what was originally offered in 1977 and will give me a ton of adjustability to the suspension. So we just hit our first snag here.
While I was mounting the hub and brake assembly, I noticed that the wilwood caliper was actually fouling this tang on the upright. And so I was playing around with different caliper positions, and I found that if I tried to mount it at a 45 degree, the bolt pattern on the aluminum block wouldn't line up. And then it's kind of weird putting it on the top of the rotor. I don't know if that's like okay or not, but I think for bleeding, it may not be the best. And then anything on the far side is gonna run into problems because you're on the far side of the axle. You've got a lot going on with the suspension. So I think I really want it in this front section here. Drop a comment. Let me know any stories where you've had to cut up brand new parts for your custom project.
In all seriousness, these kinds of things happen all the time when building something like this. The custom uprights were designed to use factory 240SX brake calipers, but I chose to take a step further by upgrading to wilwood 4-piston brakes. This was bound to happen, however wrong it feels to cut up freshly powder-coated parts. On the upside, I was able to find high-temperature spray paint that closely matched the powder coating. I might have these powder coated again in the future, but for now, let's continue getting the driveline into the car so that we can get ready to measure for custom wheels.
I gave the uprights like an hour to dry so that they could be handled with the fresh paint, which the paint really perfectly matched. The cap matched.
I wanted to mention, if you're doing anything similar to this, to be careful when purchasing wheel bearings. Most parts stores, AutoZone, Advance, whatever, have the same wheel bearing part number for a 240SX, an NA or twin turbo 300ZX, and an Infiniti Q45. This is incorrect. The Q45 and 300ZX twin turbo actually use a stronger 32 spline 32.5mm hub versus the 30mm 29 spline hub found in the S13, S14, and NA 300ZX. Be sure you have the right axles before having them shortened, and be sure to have the wheel bearings that match the axles and hubs you're actually using. You'll know right away if the wheel bearing is too small for the hub you're using because it won't press into place without crushing the bearing. The big goal that I'm working towards right now is to be able to measure and order the custom wheels and drive shaft for the car. Both of these items will have a long lead time, and the sooner we have them ordered, the sooner I can let bald eagles fly. In the next episode, we're going to shift our focus to the front of the car, start on the fiberglass bodywork there, so we can then do an alignment, string the car, and start making our measurements to order the wheels. If this is a build you'd like to follow, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you in the next episode.